we'll make it available afterwards for you to see on our YouTube channel and other social media channels. So without any further delay, I'll hand over to Sophie from Manus, so we'll take things from here, and I'll speak to you again at the end of the presentation. Sophie.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Sophie Kramer. I'm the Business Development Manager responsible for Europe for Manus. We'll be starting with a short presentation. Afterwards, Arsène will be doing a demo, and then we'll be holding a question and answer session. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to pop them in the Q&A box. I'll just share my screen for the presentation. Oh, let me just see. There we go. I hope everyone can see my presentation. Great. So we'll be starting for a second. There we go. These are the points of topics for today. We'll be starting with a short introduction about Manus, then some use cases for our products. We'll dive deeper into to our gloves, and then we'll be speaking about Polygon, our full body in VR. Who are we? Manus was founded 6 years ago in the Netherlands. We are a company producing data gloves, which are used for motion capture and VR purposes across multiple markets. And over the past year, we're growing quite rapidly, and 20 more people joined our company, and we hope to continue to do so. Some use cases for our products. There are many use cases for our products, but unfortunately, we are not able to present them all today, so we picked the best ones out for you. For training and simulation purposes, our products get used a lot. For example, engineers who need to assemble an engine of a car, who can work together in VR, pass over objects and such, but also fire drills and evacuation procedures, but also military procedures like setting up communication systems and such. The particular use case I am presenting now is for patients with brain damage who are going through the rehabilitation process and are getting used to the working environment. Let me just start the video. The video. Our products furthermore are used within the design and prototyping purposes. For example, car manufacturers who use clay models could now instead do this in VR. Same goes for the interior of a car, where you can use VR to assess how user-friendly the car actually is, or do a test drive within VR. Hereby the video. To the next slide. There we go. Our products also get used a lot within the film industry for motion capture purposes, for example, in combination with accents for hand and finger tracking into MVM. Same is for OptiTrack. You can use the OptiTrack hybrid glove with motive free. Here is a video of our gloves in combination with accents.
Well, with the push of a button, I can deliver this talk as a completely different character. This is Elbor. So does Elbor. Now, the second reason we did this, and you can imagine, is this is going to be great for film. This is a brand new, exciting tool for artists and directors and storytellers.
There we go. Our products also get used within the robotic industry to use the hands as an input device rather than a joystick or a controller, which you can also see in the next video.
Well,
there we go. Our products offer endless possibilities for many different industries, bringing everyday situations to virtual reality. They allow you to create realistic and safe training environments. Some great examples for this are the firefighter you've seen in the first GIF. Let me just see if I can get it to go back. There we go. Because it takes away the danger in virtual reality. In this way, you can have dangerous situations and trainings and take the danger away, so it's safe. Another good example is if you have a meeting, you can bring your CAD models in VR and walk around them and assess them with your colleagues. So it brings your meeting to life. Next point of topic are our gloves. Why would you choose Manus Gloves? Our gloves are high in quality and comfort. As we've been developing and manufacturing gloves since 2014, we have continuously been improving our quality and comfort of our product. One of our unique selling points is that we fully integrate the electronics into the glove. So from the outside, it looks like a regular glove, but it also fits and wears like one. Yes. Oh, apologies. Ease of use. All Manus gloves can be self-calibrated with our core Manus software. There are 3 simple steps within the calibration process. Once calibrated, you can save your calibration to a user profile and you're good to go to the next time. We also have a worldwide distribution network with resellers in every continent. So we can give you local support in your own language. Aside from that, we offer full service and warranty. Most of our products come with a 12-month warranty and full support. So we have a support team available for all your questions, and our hardware and technical teams are also able to answer all your questions. Aside from that, we have integration into third-party software solutions. Our gloves are supported natively with OptiTrack and Xsense hardware and software solutions. This way, you can seamlessly integrate hand and finger tracking in your animation if you're already using OptiTrack or Xsense. This saves a lot of post-processing time and your animation will look more realistic. Hereby a video showing our new prime. This brings me to the Prime 2. We have a new design, exciting. Before this, people who know our product, we had more gamey colors, so red and black, and we decided to go for a more futuristic, professional vibe. That's why I decided to go for gray and white for the Prime 2 series. We have a new mounting system, meaning that with the Prime 1, separated hand mounts were supplied, where you were required to mount the Vive tracker on top of the hand. As a quality of life improvement with the Prime 2, we have designed and integrated a mounting system which allows you to easily sight different trackers and add-ons on and off. Aside from that, finger spreading is also supported now. With the Prime 1 series, we did not support finger spreading. Each finger was only able to bend due to the lack of on each finger. The Prime 2 has, aside from flex sensors and IMUs on each finger, which tracks the finger spreading, which is a huge improvement, especially for the motion capture industry. Overstretching is also now possible due to the Prime 2 having IMUs in each finger. It's able to show overstretching, so like this. This makes the hand much more realistic. And also a kind of an obvious one is that we now have an on and off button. The Prime 1 did not have an on and off button, so this meant you had to plug in the IMU into the glove. Now we have an on and off button. You can actually use the gloves wired as well. So that's great. Aside from that, we have a swappable battery, enabling you to have longer capture sessions. This is very important, so you can keep recording. With the Prime 1, there was, well, you had smaller capture sessions, so you couldn't capture for so long, which is also great for the motion capture industry. Aside from that, we now have a washable glove. When you have multiple users, it's quite important for hygiene reasons, but also with the pandemic going on. We now have designed the electronics in such a way that you can easily remove them and slide them back into the glove, so you can wash them. The Prime 2 is available, will be released mid-July, so it's only available for pre-order right now. Move on to the next slide. There we go. Here you see our Prime 1. Prime 2, apologies. This is our Prime 2 series. This is our Prime 2 Haptic. It's actually the same glove as the Prime 1. The only difference is that it has haptic feedback LRAs on top of the glove, so you can touch and feel objects in VR. And last but not least, we have our Prime 2 Extends, which is also the same as the Prime 2. However, it's fully compatible with Extends hardware and software. You can see here that the integrating mounting system comes in handy, as it allows you to easily sight the Extends tracker on and off. Now we'll be talking about full body and VR Polygon. Polygon is our very own inverse kinematic software, which by the use of 6 data points collects and processes data into natural full body movements. One of the key attributes of Polygon is the possibility for the user to calibrate it themselves. Arsène will be showing this in the demo later on after the presentation. This is done by completing 6 simple steps, and you can do this without any intervention from outside the VR experience. With the requirement of only 5 trackers and a headset, setting up the hardware is as easy as it gets. Polygon operates in Manus Core, which is our user interface, and is a coded C# instead of C++ SDK, making it easier to integrate the third-party software. Here is a video showing Polygon. Other Unity arcade systems calculate the position of hand in relation to your waist and places them into the body in Unity. In the animation, the waist is always leading, which means in case of your waist occlusion, the entire arcade stops functioning. Polygon processes the position of each tracker individually and combines it into a full body. During calibration, it also scales the digital body to fit your actual size, which results in more realistic body movements in VR. In case of occlusion, we will make sure the trackers and limbs won't drift away, which is not the case with other Unity arcade systems. And lastly, Polygon works separately from a 3D engine. It functions as an input device, which, oh, the video, there we go. It functions as an input device. Sorry. Later in 2020, we will be looking into third-party software plugins, also for motion capture software such as Motion Builder. Here you see the 6 data points, so the headset functions as one, as well 2 on top of the gloves, 1 on the waist, and 2 on the feet. In the video, you see Vive trackers, but also other trackers can be used. After the video, Arsène will be demonstrating Polygon. Wil jij alvast de trackers aan gaan doen? Okay, great. So let me just see. Kan jij je scherm aannemen? Just make sure Arsène's screen is all up. I'll stop sharing my presentation. There you go. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Now Arsène will get ready.
Thanks, Sophie.
It's okay. Watches. Yeah. There you go.
Hello everyone, I have a camera set up here so you can see the space here, and I will take you through a Polygon setup. So putting on the straps with the Vive trackers, putting on the gloves to give you an insight, what you would need to do, like what steps are required to use Polygon. So I will begin by sitting down, putting on the straps on my feet, the one on my waist, and I'll finish setting up the gloves on my hands with the Vive trackers on top. I will also share my screen so you can see what I do on my computer. You can have a glimpse of the Manus Dashboard as well as what I see in VR. I still have to set up the screen sharing, so it might take a couple seconds. Good. So what you can see right now is the dashboard. This is what you can use to troubleshoot your gloves. Like when you wear your gloves, you can see the status info, like for example, the battery level, the sensor data, all that stuff you can see. I will now overlay this with the VR view, and I will go sit there and put on all the stuff.
Moet ik je even helpen, Arsène? Nee?
So we'll start with the straps for the feet. Then the one for the waist. And then put on the gloves with the Vive trackers. So I'm now wearing all the hardware required. I will go in the interface to the Polygon part. As you can see, I don't really look like me because it hasn't been set up yet. And I will open the calibration, put on the headset and start the calibration. And I will also show you the VR view so you can see what I see. Right. So there are a couple of steps that we need to do. We need to follow the avatar during the calibration. And as you can see, I'm now fully calibrated. You can see the avatar in front of me, that is me, and I can freely move around and inspect if I am properly calibrated. I can move around, I can raise my arms, and as you can see, both the inverse kinematics for the body as well as the finger tracking are working at the same time. I will now walk around a little bit so you can inspect what I look like, what my avatar looks like when I move around. And as you can see now, you can see a pass through. You can see the environment here, the studio, and you can see my avatar as well as my physical body combined with the avatar that represents my body. This concludes the Polygon showcase. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Arsen, there is one question actually, which is probably quite appropriate for now. Is there any way to have more articulation in the spine and the neck?
Okay.
Kan jij de vraag horen?
Nee.
Oh, 1 second. Kan ik mijn dingen eruit trekken? Arsene does not have sound.
Oh, right, I see, sorry.
Yeah, that's great.
Is that better? Sorry, so someone was asking, is there a way to have more articulation in the spine and the neck?
So right now we have these 6 points. So for the hands, for the feet, for the waist or hip, and the headset. What we will be adding in the future is tracking for the upper arms. But for the neck and for the spine, we currently only have like the one waist tracker.
Okay, all right.
Je kunt jouw polygons gewoon trouwens nog zien.
Ah,
I will reshare my screen so you can see me move.
See what you're doing, yeah. I mean, I thought it was really good. I didn't tell you this beforehand, but I started recording, timing you from when you started Arsene and when you finished your calibration. Yes. And that was 3 minutes, 40 seconds. So that's pretty good for someone putting it on themselves. So I think that's quite useful for people to know.
Yeah, so the Polygon calibration itself is pretty simple. As you can see, it's 6 steps. You just move your hands like this, you move them like that, and there's a neutral pose, a T pose, and one to figure out what your neck is doing. And that's it. And if you have the gloves, to calibrate the gloves, it also takes less than a minute. So if you have a setup like with 5 trackers and with base stations, like in 5 minutes or so, you can start using it. It's very straightforward. There's nothing much to it.
That's really good. And what's the latency in the system? So a couple of viewers aren't sure if it's being on Zoom and video conferencing, or is this happening in real time? But is there what's the lag between movement and recording in the system?
So since we're using Vive trackers and SteamVR headset, in this case, as far as I understand, it's 90 Hertz or higher, depending on the frame rate of the headset. So the latency should not be, like it works for VR, so the latency is pretty low. We don't know the exact latency, to be honest. But it should be definitely good enough for VR. And we have different sample rates you can configure in the Unity plugin, for example. By default, it's running at 30 Hertz, but you can up it until, I think we limit it at 240 Hertz or something. But it mostly depends on the tracker input you also put into it. And since we're using Vive trackers, you're limited to the refresh rate of those Vive trackers at this moment. If you're using it with another tracking system, like one of the things we're actively working on is supporting ART. You can use that system to track. If you're using like the location-based active markers from Polygon, for example, it would depend on that. It kind of depends. Currently, we support Vive trackers, and we're looking to expand it.
Okay.
And tracking systems.
Okay, thank you so much. And is there a plugin for Unreal? Is there an SDK for Unity and Unreal as well?
Right. So at this moment, we have a plugin for Unity, and we're working on an Unreal one. Unfortunately, partly due to COVID, that Unreal plugin is delayed, but we're working on it internally, and we're looking for an additional company to do the development. Okay.
And is that, I mean, plugins one thing, are you doing any kind of SDK or API for the solver?
We don't have one yet, but we will also release a SDK so you can implement it in your own application. It's kind of like on the same track as the Unreal plugin. So if you have your own software, you can also implement it.
Okay, thank you.
Those are future plans, but things we want to do as well.
Okay. I wonder if anyone else has got any additional questions which they would like to put in the Q&A.
So I hope the Zoom quality is good enough. The frame rate is nice. The camera shows it how I can see it, because it's responsive. It's like meant for VR, so it should definitely work for motion capture as well. Okay, brilliant.
Another question was, where can we try it? So certainly I can say from Target3D's perspective, we're looking to get a demo system in as soon as possible, and really just working around the government COVID guidelines in terms of visitations. But we expect, if you would like to try it, we probably by the end of July will be fully operational with demos here.
We also provide demo dongles. So all you have to do is purchase a dongle. We then ship you the dongle, and well, actually you only pay for the shipping cost, which is 99 euros, and then you already have the dongle and can try out the products for a month.
Okay.
So you receive a demo license.
So you would need the trackers?
You need the trackers, yeah. If you already have the trackers, that's great. Otherwise, you would have to purchase them. But there's a lot of people who are working in VR who already own a lot of Vive trackers, so it depends.
Yeah, very much. Okay, thank you. So here's a question for Manus. What is the strangest use for Manus technology that you've encountered but hadn't anticipated? If you're free to talk about it. So what's the strangest Manus systems use case?
Yeah, I think we can talk about that, Arjen. Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple of use cases that we did.
Yeah.
Space Melody.
Yeah.
Melody?
Yeah.
H Melody. Yeah. The project Melody. Yeah.
Yeah. Project, yeah. There are many that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
Sophie will tell you the latest.
Yeah, the latest is for an anime streamer. Yeah.
Well, it's not any kind of.
It's not any kind of anime. Okay, Arsen, why do I have to?
It's adult content.
It's adult content, yeah. There's a few of those which were for adult content that we did not expect. For dolls as well, someone purchased our gloves, which we did not expect.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting technical support questions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other more mainstream things we didn't expect. So one of the things we saw, the Prime gloves being used as a research project at NASA for Valkyrie, which is a robotic, like astronaut kind of. So controlling an astronaut in space, like on the International Space Station, from either inside of the space station or from Earth. Like,
wow.
That is an example, but that's a research project. I think a year ago or so, we saw Toyota develop a whole robot that you can control, like for remote working as well. Like these super futuristic things. I think none of us really expected to see such high profile companies or organizations do. but one of the things that was really, really cool was the video that Sophie shared with you of DigiDog, which was a showcase that Digital Domain, like the VFX company, did, where they had Dog, which is one of like a very important research person within Digital Domain, showcased himself in real time as another person. We were really like amazed by how well it looked, and it was a TED talk. It was very interesting to see that. It was like really amazing.
No, that particular one was using the accent suit, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Combination with an accent suit. So Dog was on stage doing a TED talk, and behind him you saw his digital version as a dwarf or as a digital person.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Okay, good. Thank you. So has the system been trialed with dance or dancers yet? And if so, what's been the results? So I don't know, Arsene, how sprightly you're feeling today. Do you want to do some kind of quick movements?
Arsene, come on.
I can do many things, but when I start dancing, I'm sure it will be hilarious.
Try us on.
But to be clear, right now, one of the requirements is that you use it with a VR headset. That is something that we will, like very soon, in the next couple of weeks, we have planned to remove that necessity. So right now, I am, like, you can still see. So
yeah.
One of the things we will improve is this, for example. You can see my elbow. With an additional tracker here, we will resolve that. That's something for the next few weeks. And the same is removing the requirement for the headset. Because now I'm tethered, like if I turn around, I can like trip. That's still a limitation, but I can balance. I can show you that I can like do all these kinds of moves. But like dancing is definitely not like what I was born to do.
You've been asked to floss. Can you floss? Come on, give us your best floss.
I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Okay. But so you can do any kind of performance where you step around, where you move around. But right now the cable is it is something you need to take care of.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we know the range of motion with Polygon is due to your Vive setup. Yeah. In terms of the gloves, how do they connect to the workstation? Is it the wireless? Is it Bluetooth? Is it Wi-Fi? What's the frequency type?
So for both Prime 1 and Prime 2, we have a proprietary radio frequency protocol. So it's like Bluetooth, but it's made specific for our gloves. So one of the reasons for that is because Bluetooth has a specific sampling rate. So you always have to wait a certain amount of milliseconds before you can receive data. For our gloves, we have a custom protocol, which is not limited by that. So you can connect the dongle in your computer, and then the gloves communicate wirelessly to that dongle, and you can connect one left glove and one right glove to that dongle. And what we're adding with Prime 2 is not only can you use them wirelessly, you can also use them wired. So you can like connect the USB-C cable in it, you can connect it to your computer, if you have a backpack, or if you're wearing some kind of laptop or something else, or like maybe you're sitting, you can use them wired. So the battery never runs out and you don't suffer from any kind of wireless interference. This was a request that we got from certain large companies. They don't want any like radio stuff happening that they're not sure about. And there is certain desktop usage, for example, for medical training, rehab, where the wireless part is not important, but continuity or ease of use is more important.
How many pairs of gloves can you connect to one workstation?
Right now, we support up to 4, but we're looking into expanding that.
Okay. And is there a distance limitation? So how far from the workstation could you go with the gloves?
It mostly depends if there is anything in between you and the gloves. So if there is anything that would block a wireless signal, similar to, for example, Wi-Fi, you would have like the signal quality decrease with line of sight. So if there is nothing in between you and the dongle, and you're not like blocking by turning in front of it yourself, I think the limit is somewhere between 20 and 30 meters.
Okay. Okay.
I would say most use cases use it like within 5 meters or so.
Okay, 5 meters optimal, but up to 20 meters. Okay. Sorry.
Prime 1 and the Prime 2 is we're also changing the dongle. So whereas with the Prime 2, it's a small like USB dongle you connect into your computer. With the Prime 2, it's a dedicated piece, like with a cable, so you can put it in the back of your computer, but put it on top of your computer, or put it somewhere else, so you can improve the line of sight. You can improve the signal quality.
Okay, great. In terms of the Prime 2 Haptics gloves, here's a question: how do they actually feel? So an expansion of that is, could you imagine picking something up, and how do you create that? If you wanted to create an interaction with an object in Unity or Unreal, is that quite straightforward? Is it collision detection? So two questions there. How intense are the haptics? How does it feel? And how do you make it work, I suppose, in a game engine?
Right. So what is specific about the haptics version is that on the tip of your finger, you can actually see it with the gloves I'm wearing. So I'm wearing Prime 1 haptic gloves at this moment. This casing, like inside of it, contains an LRA, which is a linear resonance vibrator. It's the same thing as you find in, like, for example, if you buy a new iPhone or like you have a MacBook Pro, there's a vibration like sensor that vibrates in one direction. So like most vibration motors, like you might remember from old phones, when it vibrates, it spins around and it's out of sync, like its center of balance is outside of the center, so it will spin around, like an old Nokia phone will like turn on the table. This sensor or this vibrator will like vibrate in one direction. And we have placed it in such a way that when you touch something, you will feel like a directional force, instead of like a spinning force. That is very different from most other haptic, like vibro tactile haptic gloves. It feels like you're touching something, so you feel directional force. Within the plugins, we offer you control over the strength of this vibration and also the duration of this vibration. And we hook into the physics system of Unity, for example. So when you collide with an object, you can like feel that kind of sensation, but it's not limited to the physics system. So if you want to program a certain vibration pattern, like for example, you want some kind of curve, whenever something happens in your game or whatever you're making, you can program that. So you have control over that. You can make a custom curve. Whenever you touch something, you can just say, I want this at 50% for 10 milliseconds. You have full control over that. And that goes for the Unity plugin and also the SDK.
Okay, thank you. So I suppose just another question in relation to the vibration. So you can almost give a drilling sensation. So if someone is holding a drill, for example, you could actuate the vibrations to prolong for a long period of time, so you feel as if you're drilling.
Yeah, but I would like to add that in that specific use case, so in both the Prime 1 haptic as in the Prime 2 haptic, you have two kinds of sensors. So you have the ones inside of the casing, which is a asymmetrical one, the one that spins around, which is good for like general like rumbling. But the ones on your fingertips, they vibrate in a direction. So for example, if you were to pull a trigger on a drill, like you could give that sensation. And when the drill is spinning, you could give a vibration on the hand itself that you can feel the rumble in your hand.
Good, thank you. And in terms of sensitivity, could you discern the difference between, say, picking up an egg or a soft ball or a piece of steel? Is that all kind of programmable in
Right. So you have control over the intensity, but what you have to remind yourself is that the kind of feedback that you get is vibro-tactile. So when you touch something, you feel a vibration. It's a linear vibration. It doesn't simulate weight. So it's not the same thing as picking up a real object, but it definitely helps you pressing buttons or giving you feedback when you think you're touching something. So if you gently pick up an egg, for example, and you like throw it or put it away, like if you gently touch it or you grab it, like you can give a different intensity and different kind of feeling that you can experience.
Okay, and that's all programmable through the plugin and the SDK. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Got a question about Polygon and using it as maybe a mocap device and creating animations. Can you edit those animations? And if so, is that editable in the game engine, or do you do it through the proprietary Manus software?
So right now you can use, right now we have the Unity plugin. We're expanding with the Unreal plugin, and both Unity and Unreal offer like in-engine recording. So you can record whatever your avatar is doing. If you're picking up virtual objects, you can record all that, and you can export as a FBX, for example. One of the things that we will bring is like inside of the Manus dashboard, the ability to also record and export to different files. So that is something on our roadmap as well. And we currently have a in-house beta for a motion builder plugin for the Prime, and it will be added with Polygon support as well. So you will be able to record all of this inside of motion builder, either stream it or combine it with other data, export it, that kind of stuff. So like specific motion capture things, we're working on and expanding in that field to make it easier to use Polygon for mocap. One of the things I mentioned earlier is like upper arm trackers to make the articulation of the arms better, as well as removing the need for a headset.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. I don't think there are any more questions queued up right now, unless anyone wants to put any in there very quickly. But otherwise, I'll say thank you so much, Arsene. It was a great demo. And Sophie as well. Shall I hand back to you? Do you have any closing comments or?
From our side, not really. Just thank you all for watching and for the interest in the product.
Yeah.
And if there's any questions, you can always email us, or you could get in touch with Target.
So thank you, Sophie. Yep. So to echo that, if you want any further information, arrange demo, pricing, availability, all those kind of things, contact us through our website. We've got web form, through our phone number, through info@target3d.co.uk if you want to drop us an email. And we'd be really delighted to hear from you, and any other feedback you'd like to give about this webinar. We're hoping to do more in due course. But thanks again to the Manus team. It was a really great demo and a good launch of the really groundbreaking products. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good stuff. So until next time, everyone, I think we'll call it a day there. And so, yeah, if you want to see this again, we'll publish this on our social media in a day or so once we've gone through it. But otherwise, thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.